Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 10th of 2024, and Deadpool and Wolverine is inching closer and closer to that $1 billion mark worldwide at the box office, and we know it's good news for those out there like Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, Hugh Jackman, Rhett Reese, and Paul Wernick that really took a stand against the Walt Disney Studio heads, as well as everyone else connected to Marvel Studios that went into full agreement on it was their way or the highway, basically. That's how Ryan stood against Disney. That's how, of course, others like Sean Levy, the director of this thing, stood against those like Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, Deadpool and Wolverine, I mentioned this numerous times before, this is very much a love letter to the Fox universe, whatever you want to call it, based on all of the different cameos that you see in this thing, and the special appearances of other characters in there. But what's interesting about this is that you have a lot of different scenarios happening behind the scenes between Ryan Reynolds and She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany. There's been a lot of back and forth scenarios happening between these two individuals, Marvel Studios and the Walt Disney Company, and exactly how. This has been a thing that has been ongoing for multiple months at this point, but it has progressed when it comes down to the character of She-Hulk. Let's discuss. Now, what's interesting about this is that we already know that there's been a lot of things happening with Ryan Reynolds as well when it comes to his overall status within Marvel Studios and a part of the Walt Disney Company, and how it really does now involve more drama related to Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, of course, like I said before, with Deadpool and Wolverine getting closer to that $1 billion worldwide mark at the box office, one major development that has been ongoing has to do with She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany and Ryan Reynolds, as drama behind the scenes continues to heat up between Marvel Studios and the Walt Disney Company. Now, apart from Tatiana's 3 scenes as She-Hulk that were deleted from the film's theatrical version and the planned Blu-ray edition / streaming version, it turns out the one other major scene that was split to 2 was also filmed that Ryan Reynolds recently convinced Disney to lock up forever from ever being shown to the general public was going to be the original post and mid-credit scene that was initially planned for the movie. Just recently there were many argumentative conversations that sparked between Ryan Reynolds and Tatiana Maslany behind the scenes at Marvel Studios after Ryan had a very intense negotiation with Bob Iger that they eventually agreed on. This involved a post-credit scene that will never see the light of day that has already resulted, of course, in Tatiana Maslany giving the Walt Disney Company a warning that she will be ready to take some form of legal action if nothing is resolved with the appearance of her scenes that she filmed. The post-credit scene in particular involved both Deadpool and She-Hulk, get this, together on screen, side by side, arguing with each other about who was the better fourth wall breaker. The way the scene was executed, however, displayed She-Hulk and Deadpool and She-Hulk in particular in a very girl bossy-like behavior, where she dominates Deadpool in the arguments with him on the big screen and even uses her fists to break a brick wall, literally, to reveal a series of cast and crew members behind the scenes. This scene was a fourth wall breaking moment both artistically and literally on screen, and it was not received well at all with the test screeners that witnessed an initial cut of the film based on Tatiana Maslany's acting and the way that she handled her line delivery. Tatiana Maslany arguments, of course, that this scene, of course, was promised to her that it would be included in the Blu-ray / streaming version of Deadpool and Wolverine, and that is now no longer the case, which caused Maslany to raise hell at not just Ryan Reynolds, but also at Bob Iger. There was even a mid-credits scene between She-Hulk and Wolverine fighting each other from a different point of view from another scene, revealing the truth of how Wolverine was defeated by She-Hulk in the mid-credits scene in a one-on-one battle. Now, guys, let me just stop here for one moment. Now, look, I'm really glad that Ryan really saw everything for what it was. That the insertion of She-Hulk and Captain Marvel was nothing more than Bob Iger trying to shoehorn Marvel-related characters into the stories, particularly MCU-related characters. Basically, Ryan Reynolds wanted to make this a love letter, like I said earlier in this video, to the Fox universe, mainly. That's why the majority of the cameos that you do see in here are related to the Fox universe. You know, whatever you want to call it, right? So, with MCU characters getting a lot, you know, of those characters mixed up with the Fox characters, I think it would have been a little bit confusing and a little bit out of touch. The fact that they stuck with one theme, I think, made this film, you know, quite honestly, right up there in rank when it comes to Ryan's vision and what he really wanted to do with this movie, along with director Shawn Levy. Now, this is where things get interesting. Now, this mid-credit scene was essentially an alternate version of another of Maslany's scenes that were filmed between herself and Jackman of that She-Hulk and Wolverine battle. Now, the overall sequence was also terribly received, and Ryan knew fans would disagree with these moments in the film on a serious level. Tatiana had multiple outbursts toward Ryan Reynolds. It was so severe that it rattled throughout not just all of Marvel Studios, but also all of the Walt Disney Company, leaving Marvel boss Kevin Feige in a state of confusion of what needs to be done to satisfy Maslany. Now guys, about Kevin Feige, we know that right now, he is in complete panic mode, alright? He wants to basically bring the MCU back to the way it was. This is why he's making announcements like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom. Whether you like that or not, this was a desperate move by Kevin Feige to get things back on track after 2023 and the previous years. Everything basically after Endgame and No Way Home have been a downhill battle, right? An uphill battle, basically, I should say. But interestingly enough, on top of that, as of now, the Disney executives have agreed all Captain Marvel scenes and She-Hulk sequences will never appear as extra features. Period. The end. And that is, of course, something that Tatiana Maslany is desperately trying to challenge. She's warning them if they don't reverse or reinstate her scenes that she is willing to take some kind of action by this September to October. And that kind of is right along that path to really kind of getting this movie on disc and on streaming right around the holiday season as planned. Now, here's the other problem, is that we know that this is, of course, creating, you know, a toxic tension over at Marvel Studios. We know that this is all coming from Tatiana getting very bitter from She-Hulk Season 2 falling into shambles and how that was basically axed from the overall roadmap of the MCU. That is one thing that really never seems to have, you know, left her mind. She's very much bothered by that. But we also see this with Brie Larson, alright? This comes after Captain Marvel 3, or the next Captain Marvel film, was also axed. Very much similar scenario, and that came after the terrible performance of the Marvels. So again, like I say, I think it was for the best. I think that Ryan really, you know, stuck to his overall gut that it would be best to not include these MCU characters in particular, and to just mainly focus on the Fox characters. And you know what? I really do applaud him for that. I think he made a very, very good move on that part. And the fact that he got Bob Iger to cave is a very big deal, and he's trying to reverse or really bring the MCU back on track with Shawn Levy. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.